Alright guys, a brand new overhaul mod for Attila, the Gothic Wars, is here and it is amazing. I previewed this a few months ago while it was still in development, but it's come a long way with more polish, more mechanics, and hours more gameplay. This is now a fully fleshed out overhaul for Total War Attila, one that reshapes the campaign map, reworks recruitment, redesigns the flow of battles, and introduces new event scripts that make playing all the factions, and especially Rome, really challenging. It's available right now on the Steam Workshop completely free, and it might just be one of the most historically rich and mechanically engaging mods to arrive for Attila in years. So today I'll take you through everything you need to know about it and why by the end you'll want to check it out yourself. The first big change to talk about, of course, is the campaign setup itself. The Gothic Wars begins in 536 AD, placing you at the very start of Justinian's reconquest of the Western Roman Empire, an excellent point in history to do this. Historically, this was the moment where Belisarius had just completed his North African campaign and launched his invasion of Italy, seizing Sicily from the Ostrogoths, and from that beachhead the Romans prepared to reclaim Italy, while the Ostrogoths of course fought to hold their kingdom together. This sets the stage for one of the most dramatic conflicts of the 6th century, and now you can play it in Attila. It's built on the Age of Charlemagne DLC campaign map, which zooms in closer on the Italian peninsula while still covering Western Europe and Britain. This choice gives Italy and its surrounding regions far greater detail than the base game ever provided, making the back and forth between the Romans and Ostrogoths feel more immediate, while still leaving room for campaigns beyond the Alps, across the Channel, or into Iberia. But the campaign, of course, isn't just limited to two main powers. The Gothic Wars launches with 12 fully playable factions, each with their own unique campaigns, rosters, and strategic challenges. You can take control of the Kingdom of Soissons in Gaul, the Suebi Kingdom in Hispania, the Danes in Scandinavia, Regnum Italiae under the Ostrogoths, or the Eastern Romans themselves in the form of the Expeditio Romani. The British Isles is also alive with opportunities here, with Mercia, Powys, Saxonia, the Kingdom of Oleid, and Brittany all playable, and Germania and the Balkans round out the list with the Sclaveni and the Visigoths, both rising powers of the age. For me though, what makes this lineup so compelling is that it captures the entire patchwork of post-Roman Europe. While the Gothic War, of course, between Rome and the Ostrogoths takes center stage, you are free to pursue entirely different stories, whether it's pushing the Romano-British to survival against the Saxon invasions, raiding far afield as the Danes, or trying to carve out a kingdom in Hispania. This flexibility gives the mod both a strong historical focus and enormous replayability, far beyond what the vanilla Attila campaigns really ever offered. Now, the second and arguably the most innovative feature of the Gothic Wars is its completely reworked recruitment system. Gone is the standard Attila model of raising units directly from settlement buildings. Instead, the player now makes use of local recruitment pools as the primary way to build your armies. And here's how it works. Basically, every province on the map has its own locally distinct pool of units, and to recruit, you hire the units directly from what's available in that area. The system is built on an expanded version of the vanilla mercenary mechanic, but now it's been turned into the backbone of the game. Across the campaign, there are over 300 separate units distributed into dozens and dozens of pools, each reflecting the cultural and military traditions of their home regions. This means that your armies are no longer static. You don't get access to a full unit roster wherever you are on the map. It's not predictable anymore and tied entirely to your faction. Instead, they evolve as you expand across the map. Conquer a province in Gaul, and suddenly Gallic levies, cavalry, and archers might appear in your recruitment options. Push into Germania, and new, hard-hitting tribal infantry will be on offer. Every conquest opens new opportunities, but it also demands adaptation. You'll need to integrate these diverse troops with your core forces, learning how to balance their strengths and weaknesses to create a coherent army setup. Another key element of this system is scarcity. So once you recruit a unit from a pool, it will take time, several turns, for that slot to replenish. In other words, reinforcements aren't infinite. If you throw away your elite Gothic infantry or Roman cavalry, you might not see replacements for a little while. This forces you to be far more careful with your armies than in vanilla Attila, where stacks could be endlessly rebuilt from barracks. And the result is absolutely fantastic. This is a campaign that feels alive with recruitment that has a lot of weight to it. No two armies, whether it's yours or the AI's, will look the same. Losses matter, diversity is constant, and every battle has consequences. In many ways, the system for me recalls the flavor of Medieval 2 and earlier games like it, and of course Thrones of Britannia. But here it has been built on a far larger scale, giving the Gothic Wars a mechanical identity unlike anything else in Attila. Now, the third major change comes on the battlefield. Vanilla Attila often struggles to balance pace and lethality, I think. It's either really slow and grinding and then suddenly mass routes, or really quick and you have no idea what happened, right? The Gothic Wars reworks all of this completely. Unit health pools have been reduced across the board, but at the same time, armor, shield, and damage values have been carefully adjusted, and the effect is that combat now flows much more naturally. Missile volleys cause visible casualties but don't dominate the field. Infantry clashes produce steady losses rather than long stretches of invulnerability followed by instant collapse, and casualty rates better match the intensity of the fighting you're watching. For fans of cavalry and flanking and massive charges, this is good news as well. The impact charges remain powerful and satisfying. A well-timed strike into the enemy's flank or rear can still be very decisive, but with new recruitment systems, you'll want to think twice, of course, before throwing away cavalry into situations where they can't be recovered. Every horse and rider matters. Maybe the best way to describe these battles is crunchy. Units hit harder, fights resolve with more clarity, and yet battles still last long enough to give you time to maneuver, flank, and make real tactical decisions. It's a nice middle ground, essentially, between the too spongy combat of vanilla and the too fast routes of some mods, and it makes every engagement feel consequential. When combined with the not-so-infinite unit pools, this system gives the Gothic Wars some of the most strategically meaningful battles you'll find in the Attila engine. Finally, on the campaign side of things, I just want to mention that there are now new scripted events and mechanics that shape your playthrough. Since my earlier preview, the team has added features that make the struggle for Italy especially challenging, particularly if you're playing as the Romans, and these events capture the instability of the 6th century. You'll face moments of crisis, setbacks that test your momentum, new invasions that shake your plans, and the Roman expedition in Italy is no easy ride, I have to tell you. Supplies are thin, resistance is fierce, the Ostrogoths remain really determined to fight you every step of the way. Plagues, political strife, enemy counterattacks ensure that victory is not that guaranteed. This is, for me, probably one of the most important parts of the Gothic Wars. It isn't just a sandbox where you paint the map your color. It's a campaign that fights back, one that forces you to earn every step forward and punishes overextension. The result is a much more dynamic and replayable experience, closer to what you'd expect from a grand historical conflict rather than a simple conquest campaign. Overall, Age of Justinian has always been one of my all-time favorite historical mods across any Total War game. With its depth, balance, and attention to detail, it set a standard for how this game could be transformed into a serious late Roman strategy experience. With the same developers now having released the Gothic Wars, that vision has been expanded even further and in great style. From the new start date and detailed campaign map with all these fantastic historical factions and start locations, to the radically overhauled recruitment system, which is a breath of fresh air for the game, the sharper battles with its weight and deep need for tactical decision making, and the scripted challenges that kicked my behind, this mod adds so much content and hours of gameplay. I'll be playing it for at least a few months. And the best part is, so can you. If you want to relive the Eastern Roman conquest, defend the Gothic kingdom, or carve out your own legacy among the dozen of other factions, the Gothic Wars delivers. With this release, you can now get the full sweep of the period, the height of Justinian's empire in Age of Justinian, and the desperate, grinding war to retake the West in the Gothic Wars. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the Gothic Wars for Attila, and if you haven't tried it yet, I really encourage you to do so. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, of course, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.